Hello, I'm theoliverpickard and welcome to an incredibly beautiful day in Limousin, France. It's absolutely stunning today, so I thought we'd come out for a drive. And I've got the roof back. So, lately I've been driving a lot of different stuff. A lot of very cool stuff, but I haven't, and I've also been to Paris. But I also haven't had that much time to drive Jolene. I've just been so busy. And so I thought I'd come for a nice drive. It's a beautiful day. And it feels like coming home driving Jolene. It feels awesome. Ooh, this is a cow pooey corner. But every time I do one of these videos, I always get told off for driving Jolene. Oh, why are you driving it so like you do? Anyway. Turn left here. So, I've lost my track already. In today's video, it's not about Limousin, it's not about driving, it's not about Jolene, it's about Paris and Retromobile. But like I say, it feels nice to come home, it feels nice to be home. Can I go up here in third? It's a very steep hill. It feels lovely to be back, to be honest. It feels lovely to be home. Yeah, I'm wearing ripped jeans, woolly jumper, roof back, perfect. Anyway, so Retromobile. I've just got back from Retromobile and it was an incredible experience. It was a surreal experience because I've looked forward to going to Retromobile since I was a little kid. I've always wanted to go, and it was an absolute dream come true to go, and an even bigger dream come true to be a journalist there. You know, I'm now a professional video maker. I don't like using the word journalist, but I'm now a professional video maker. I suppose I am a sort of reporter. Whether I'm a journalist or not, I don't know. I'll let people decide that. I'm just me, and I drive cars and have fun with cars and enjoy doing what I do, and people can call it whatever they want to call it. But it's an absolute dream come true to go to Paris and to go to Retromobile. I've been all over France in my lifetime. I've never been to Paris. Two places I've never been. One is the Alps and one is Paris, and I need to rectify the Alps thing. But oh, there's a massive buzzard sat on a fence post. Hello, massive buzzard. There you go. Hey, that'd be a good bit of footage. That was awesome. So, I've never been to Paris before, never been to Retromobile before, and this is one of my favourite roads in the world, by the way. And so, what was the experience like? What have I learned from it? Well, we arrived in Paris, and I was staying at a friend's because I'm trying to be economical with the trip and all that. I didn't stay in a hotel, and we used the metro to get around. The metro was great, but I ended up not seeing a lot of Paris, obviously, because when you're on the metro, you're underground. The weather was not very nice, to be honest, but what do you expect for early February? It was very rainy, it was very cold, and it was very windy. But like I say, on the underground, in the metro, you don't see any of it. You're just underground, and that was kind of sad. I wish I'd taken a different form of transport, either a bicycle, because I could have taken my bike on the train, or a scooter or something to get around Paris and see more of Paris and see more of the sights of Paris. But obviously I was going for work, I wasn't really going for sightseeing. And the other thing was that if you hear a squeak, by the way, there's a cent coin or something somewhere, or a washer or something falling down behind the dashboard. I need to find it. But I ended up not seeing a lot of Paris. So if you do go to Paris on holiday, Retromobile or not, and you're taking the metro, make sure that you have extra time to do sightseeing and stuff anyway, because obviously if you're underground, you know, the metro is very good. I think it was €56 or something for 2 people for a 3 or 4 day, I think 3-day pass, like unlimited trips on the metro, which for how much we used it, you know, we used the metro going to Retromobile, which we ended up on the other side of Paris, so it was 2 trips there, and sorry, 2 trains there and 2 trains back every single day, and it took just over an hour, maybe an hour and 20 minutes to get across Paris on the metro. But that 2 trains is 1 metro ticket. It's the metro's the same price no matter how many stops you take. So it would have actually been cheaper for us to buy a metro ticket every day, although I'm glad I didn't. I'm going to turn the heater on even though I'm filming, because I want warm knees. And it's not as warm as it looks today. It's nice though. Oh, that's nice. But yes, it would have been a lot cheaper to actually buy individual tickets for each day. So pay in mind that if you are going to Paris, and you're going for multiple days, then so pay in mind that if you are going to Paris, if you're taking more than 2 metro trips per day, get the 3-day ticket. But if you're not, don't bother with a multiple day ticket unless it's worth the convenience to you. I'm glad I did it because the convenience of just being able to arrive first thing in the morning, get put your ticket in that you already had in your pocket, not queue up at a machine, get on the train and go to Retromobile. That was very handy. But if I was trying to be as economical as absolutely possible, or if I had multiple people, if you're a family, you'll save quite a lot of money by just getting each ticket each time. Like I say, if it's more than 3 days, it's probably worth it. But like I say, I didn't see a heck of a lot of Paris. I didn't get to be a tourist that much. And Retromobile itself was very interesting. We arrived there, and it's a giant exposition hall. Is that the word? So when I arrived at Retromobile, the first thing is I was just blown away because the amount of variety, and the amount of cars, and the amount of just stuff that you've never seen before is absolutely unreal. You know what I mean? And I'm a giant car geek, and I've got stacks of car books, but this stuff that I've only ever seen in books. I think I saw 5 Bizarrini Stradas. I've never seen 1 Bizarrini Stradas. I saw multiple Delahaye Grand Prix cars and stuff like that. Like stuff I have never ever seen before. These nice traffic work people, and it's shocking. I saw multiple Delahaye Grand Prix cars. I saw just all sorts, and it's amazing to me how quickly you become jaded, believe it or not. You end up stepping up, oh it's just another Jag E-Type, oh it's just another Aston Martin DB6. And in these are cars that in isolation, you'd lose your mind over seeing them just driving down the road. But when there's 7 parked in a row, you're just like, oh, okay. Stuff that normally is incredibly rare, all of a sudden is incredibly common. And it's an utterly bizarre experience in that respect. But it's also just breathtaking. I absolutely adored it. Look at that view, it's amazing. But it is very surreal. It is a very surreal situation to be in. We arrived on the first day, which was the press evening, which was a madhouse. I mean, I know that they invite a lot of journalists, but there was a lot of journalists. There was hundreds of journalists from all over, mostly France. And it's my first press evening, my first journalistic experience, and it's very bizarre. We were all like checked in, all of our passes scanned, and all of that kind of thing, and then we were all let in. We weren't given laminates or anything like that. None of us were told where to go to get our laminates. I found it on the last day, which by then is pointless. Hang on, I've got a piece of paper that's blowing around from somewhere, and it's blowing around in the car, so I'm just going to pull over and get rid. There we go. Clear. There we go. Don't know what that is. Like that. But yeah, none of us were told where to get our laminates or anything like that. So Miriam and I just didn't have them. And I really wish I'd known where to get them. But anyway, we arrived in, and it's a very different atmosphere on the first day to the rest of it. People playing music, which I thought was bizarre. On a time when you're trying to record video and people are trying to interview people, to be playing music in the background is just slightly annoying. But there were like canapes out and champagne and stuff. I wasn't drinking because I had to get back across Paris on the metro. Like I said, it took us an hour and a half each way, which when you add an hour and a half each way over 3 days, it was a lot of time that could have been spent making videos, to be honest, if we stayed a lot closer to Retromobile. And if I was to do it again, I am massively thankful to my friend for letting me stay at that place, do not get me wrong, but it would have been, strictly speaking, more efficient to stay at a hotel closer to Retromobile. Although my friend was just amazingly accommodating and utterly superb, and I cannot fault her. This is an amazing road, by the way. And I'm not in a rush today, by the way. I've got very little to do after this. I'm just going to enjoy having a nice drive. That's what I've come out to do. But anyway, at the event itself, it was mad. Because you've got a lot of people who are kind of the incredibly rich buyers, and you've got a lot of people who are journalists of different descriptions, from print to podcasters or whatever, to people just using iPhones to take photos and stuff. And what I was shocked at was that there wasn't a ton of professional courtesy on the press day. People walk in front of you when you're filming or taking photos, and I tried to be as courteous as possible just because that's who I am. So if someone's taking a photo, I'm going to hang back and let them get what they need, and then I can get what I need. And if you all help each other, and if you all make space for each other, then obviously everybody gets what they need. Nobody gets ticked off at anybody, and and everyone gets what they need. But it wasn't like that. It was actually quite difficult, because this is a new road to me, by the way. Like I said, people just walking between me and the camera and stuff like that. It made filming very, very difficult, and it was incredibly loud, which is why on that first day I'm standing incredibly close to the camera, because the camera has the microphone on it. But still, it was an amazing experience. The bad thing is, I got a bad back on that day, and it actually turned out that when I came home, I'd somehow got a kidney infection. I didn't know at the time. I just thought I'd pulled my back, but it really difficult sore back, and I did for the entirety of Retromobile. I'm actually in agony for a lot of those videos. But like I said, I just thought I'd pull my back. And you get between 7 and 10 p.m. that first day to film your video or do what you're doing. And in that first, in those 3 hours, we saw about half of the first hole, which that tells you how big Retromobile is. You, as a journalist, you do Retromobile backwards. You start in hole 3 and then work your way to hole 1. I don't know why, but we have a different entrance. And it was just incredible. I mean, I've never known anything like it. Morning of day 2 was the best time to film. Absolutely. And I wish I'd gotten there earlier. And if I go next year, which I really, really want to, that will be my prime filming day. Morning of when was it? Wednesday morning or whatever was superb. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. Or on more wires altogether still. Right? Yeah, Wednesday morning of day 2, Wednesday morning, was absolutely incredible. It was superb. There were less people there, there was less noise there, and I was able to do loads of filming, and actually the majority of the filming that I did do was Wednesday morning. I got loads done, it was brilliant. And I got to see a lot of cars, and people were courteous, like the actual the punters of Retromobile, the public people of Retromobile were incredibly polite, they were nice, they were lovely. People walked around me. Like, I cannot thank everybody who saw me. Oh, there's a chateau there. I cannot thank everyone who saw me and walked around me enough, because that's like the best thing in the world when you're filming, you know what I mean? It's literally the kindest and most courteous thing in. It's brilliant. Anyway, this is a superb road. So another thing was, what the worst parts of Retromobile were the fact that there are no benches anywhere. There's nowhere to sit. On the press day, there were journalists literally sitting on the stairs. There's a big set of stairs in hall 3, and there were journalists sat up the stairs. It's the gear shift. My bush must be warning my gear shift. There were journalists literally sitting on the stairs to rest. There's no benches anywhere. And over the 3 days I was at Retromobile, I saw 75-year-old people sitting on the floor in the hallway. And it's bizarre because there are a lot of places to get food at Retromobile. There's sandwich places, and there's crate places, and there's, I think, Haagen-Dazs ice cream or whatever. But there's nowhere to actually sit and eat it. There's no, it's also incredibly expensive. You're talking, over €5 for just a sandwich. And there is, in the public entrance, there is a sandwich shop there, which my friend Tony told me about on the last day. Thank you, Tony. I can take this off, can't I? That better? So, which my friend Tony told me about on the 3rd day. And I wish I'd known about the entire time, because the sandwich kind of concession place on the way in. By the way, I took the dead cat off the microphone, that's what I was doing. The sandwich concession place on the way in has the cheapest sandwiches, it has the cheapest drinks and everything. It was utterly superb, and the staff were lovely. And it also has a place to sit down. But in Retromobile itself, there are no benches. I don't know why, I don't know whether it's a security thing or what. But if you go in there and you spend it all day, especially if you're an older person, you're going to need to sit down. And there was nowhere to sit down, and like I said, I'm not moaning, but it's a legitimate grievance. Is that like I say, I saw elderly people not being able to sit down, and that was quite difficult. But that's my only real grievance about Retromobile, and I'm very thankful for Retromobile. So I'm very thankful to Retromobile for inviting me. Excellent place to stop, right in a blind corner. And I'm extremely thankful for Retromobile. Sorry, I'm extremely thankful to Retromobile for inviting me. I'm not moaning, I'm literally just saying, you know, that is a thing that I think Retromobile could have done better. But overall, you know, the staff were really polite, everyone was really nice. I wish I'd have known where to get my laminate at the time. That would have been great. But other than that, you know, I was perfectly fine with my piece of paper. Luckily, I printed my press pass off and I had it in my bag rather than having it on my phone. But yeah, it was a really nice experience. It was really nice to go. The public was lovely. I didn't meet many of you, and I think that's because a lot of the British people were going on kind of Friday afternoon, Saturday, Sunday kind of thing is when all the Brits were arriving. I know that because I had friends that were going on those days, and I missed my friends. I missed meeting Walter Hale and Oliver Way as well. You know, I wish I could have met those guys because they are internet friends. We talk, you know, quite often, but I've never actually met them in person. And I missed out on that because I wasn't staying there over the weekend because I had to get back because I've been doing some work on the house, but also I've been making videos like a madman. 2020 I want to be my year of productivity. This is a pretty famous road. If you recognise this road from my video last year, this is the Bell and Garden Marsh Hill Climb. It's a pretty famous road around here and it's pretty awesome. I've never actually driven it myself. But I filmed a bunch of guys driving up it last year. And talking of Retromobile, a lot of people have asked me what were my favourite cars of Retromobile. Well, let's start with honourable mentions. Honourable mentions, the Gold Mura. The Gold Mura was flipping awesome. I loved that car. And the other one was the Black Bugatti. I really like that Black Bugatti. Those two cars made the first video for me. It was incredible. Loved those cars. But having the GoPro's just fallen off the windscreen. Save your life, bro. We'll get to the bottom because I'm on a blind corner here. I shouldn't stop. The top three cars, if I could have taken 3 cars home from the hill climb, what would they have? The hill climb? It's because I'm on the hill climb road. I can pull in here. One sec, I'll just reattach you because this is a really gorgeous road. Good job I didn't stop. Neutral. So I just pop the camera back up 1 second. Do not fall off this time, okay? You're on firmly now. Okay, so after that slight interruption, if there were 3 cars that I could have brought home from Retromobile, what would they be? Like I said, the gold Miura was awesome, but can you imagine driving the Miura on these roads? It'd be amazing. That being said, that Acer was stunning. I absolutely adored the Acer GT, and like that buzzy little engine on these tight and twisty roads would just be incredible. So the Acer GT from the second video, the cement grey Delahaye from the Art Corral video, or Arcurial video, that was stunning, absolutely gorgeous car, and also best smelling car of Retromobile. But that car, it was the full thing for me. It was right hand drive, it was orange interior, I know it looks red on the video, but it was like a tangerine orange. This, by the way, fantastic road. Cement, like I say, cement grey exterior, tangerine orange interior, pre-selected gearbox. It was a unique driving experience, and a lovely saloon car that you could really use. And my absolute favourite car of Retromobile was the black Amilcar C6. The only thing that could have made that car better is headlights. And if I owned it, it would have found a set of headlights on it very, very quickly, because it was absolutely superb. I absolutely loved it. Another highlight for me, was talking to the clubs. I know that a lot of people out there who go to Retromobile won't talk to the clubs unless you're in the British MG club. You don't really have a lot of reason to talk to the French MG club, for example. And if you don't speak French, that's kind of a shame. However, it was an absolute pleasure to meet everyone from the different clubs. I say everyone. I met one person from one club that wasn't very nice, and for that reason that car club is not in the video, but there we go. They said they didn't care about YouTube, so they won't be bothered. But everyone else was absolutely lovely. Highlights were, for me, the Amilcar Club. What a lovely bunch of people. The Facile Vega Club. The Facile Vega Club of France are... oh, that's a nice smell. Freshly cut timber. The Facile Vega Club of France are absolutely hilarious. What a sense of humour those people have. Really nice, all the time in the world for me. They were utterly, utterly lovely, as were the MG Club, which I've just mentioned before. The MG Club, a superb group of people. But everyone was nice. And the Sprigget Club. The Sprigget Club was so nice, they made me want a Sprigget. And there was the Sprigget that they were building in that video was actually belonged to one of the members, and they'd restored it and they were putting it back together for him and for his family to use, and he'd owned it for years. So I thought that was kind of beautiful. Oh, what a road. But yeah, absolutely super down to earth people. Absolutely loved it, and it well worth talking to all the clubs. Like I said, people were so nice. And the Lauto Club of France was just, everyone was lovely, and that really made it for me, because I found Retromobile to be a slightly two-dimensional experience. I know I need to explain myself better than that, but basically I felt like something was missing while I was at Retromobile, and I couldn't really put my finger on it. I couldn't tell you what was missing while I was there, until that Delahaye, and that Delahaye really taught me what was missing at Retromobile, because in that video with the Delahaye, I stick my head in the car and I say, oh, this is the nicest smelling car of Retromobile. And I'd been sticking my head in cars and looking at interiors and stuff all week. But that day really brought it home. And I had a bit of an epiphany about cars, which, you know, I've been into cars my entire life, been in classic cars my entire life. And it really taught me something, and that is that the reason we love cars is because it's a multi-sensory experience, is car ownership. You know, driving a car is a multi-sensory experience. I can feel the road. You know, we have an obsession with steering feel, and that's because I can feel the road through the steering wheel. You have the smells of the interior and, you know, engine-y smells. You have, you know, warm grease, WD-40, like, those are really good smells. You have the noise of the engine, you know, the feel of the switches on the interior and the sounds that the engine makes, and the view around you and the view of your car. It's a multi-sensory experience, and the only thing it doesn't fulfill is taste. But I think there's a reason why a lot of us love driving to lunch and going out for lunch in our cars, because then that fills that fifth sense, you know. And that was kind of missing at Retromobile, because you're just walking around and looking at cars. You're in a museum environment, and all those cars are for sale. So because they're all for sale, it's very much a case of like you don't have you can't talk to the owners and hear about the owner's passion for the car and the story behind it and all of that. I don't know, it was a very different experience and a very interesting experience, but it was a very educational experience for me as well, because I learned a lot about my own personal taste in cars. You know, all my favourite cars of Retromobile were very detail orientated cars. They were cars that had beautiful switches and tiny little details about them that made them special. Like I say, it was an educational experience for me. I learned a lot about the cars that I love. I learned a lot about my own taste in cars as well. But like I say, I couldn't really put my finger on what was missing, and it really was the fact that I love driving. You know, driving's a multi-sensory experience. I think it's one of the reasons why many of us struggle with electric cars. We struggle with this is a tiny road. We struggle with the fact that one of those senses is missing and we can't quite put our finger on it. And Retromobile was very much the same way. You know, there I am surrounded by gorgeous dream cars. I mean, utterly just amazing stuff. And yet feeling that something was missing. And it wasn't until I got home and I posted a picture of while I was in Paris. I posted a picture of Retromobile on Instagram, and an incredibly talented journalist, Lynn Wood, commented on the picture, and Lynn said, "I love Paris, it's so dreamy," or something like that. And when I saw the comments, I'd actually just arrived at home. Turn around, yeah. Oh, that's muddy. I've accidentally driven into a farmyard. I wish I could say that's the first time I've ever driven into a farmyard, but that would be a lie, because I've done it a few times. I like tiny little roads, and eventually you sometimes end up in a farm. I love the fact that I've got a completely huge bright orange camera on the bonnet, well, actually on the windscreen, and people just completely ignore it. But anyway, yeah, Lynn said to me, you know, I love Paris, I love Retromobile, it's so dreamy, and it really is, in the way that it's full of, you know, dream cars. But then I got home and I was driving Jolene, and I commented back to Lynn Retromobile is dreamy, but being at home actually felt like a dream. I got back and, you know, it's so beautiful here. It's so green, it's so quiet. The roads are so quiet. I live in one of the few places that has no traffic. I live in one of the best driving places in the world, and that coupled with thinking about the Delahaye really brought it to me about the fact that, you know, this is a multi-sensory experience, what we do, driving and loving cars. And dream cars are nothing without dream roads. And what I really love doing is driving. What I really love doing is getting out here and driving cars and having the experience. Because, you know, sitting in front of a car at home, I do it myself, I must admit. That's where I want to put Jolene in my living room, is because I enjoy sitting in front of my car in the morning and drinking a coffee and looking at my car. I do. I'm that sad. And if I had a Bugatti, I'd do the exact same thing. Or an Amel car, I'd do the exact same thing. Or an Aston Martin, you know? I would. That's how sad I am. I'm a total geek. But that's nothing compared with actually getting out in the car and driving it, you know? And I love being out here, and this is the dream. This is living the dream. And not just looking at the dream. You know, would this experience be awesome in an Acer? Yes, it would. Would this experience be awesome in the Delahaye? Yes, it would. Would this experience be incredible in an Amel car? Yes, it would. But actually, today I'd quite like a heater. So I think I'd go for one of the other two. Go on, Jolene. There we go. I think I'd go for one of the other two today. But it's still an absolutely breathtaking experience in Jolene. You know, I'm incredibly blessed. People use that on Instagram and drives me nuts. #blessed. But people say, you know, oh, living the dream and all that kind of living your best life. But I'm incredibly privileged to do what I do. I am. I feel incredibly lucky to have gone to Retromobile to see all those cars and stuff like that. I'm incredibly lucky to drive all these beautiful cars. But this is awesome. You know, I'm incredibly lucky to do what I do. I'm incredibly lucky to drive all these beautiful cars that I get to drive. Recently, I've started driving other people's cars. You know, reviewing other classic cars. And it's amazing. It's an absolute dream come true. And Retromobile's been a part of that. And Retromobile has taught me valuable lessons as a person who makes videos, you know. Do I wish I could have brought some of those cars home? Yes. I absolutely loved it. It was very hard work. And when I got back, I think if I hadn't have had a massive kidney infection, I may have appreciated it even more. But, you know, that's life. I was very, very ill in those videos. When I came home, I instantly had to spend days in bed. I couldn't edit or anything. I just had to get better because I was very ill. I'm all right now, though. Thankfully, I'm much better now. Retromobile was a transformative experience for me, and it was educational, and it was amazing. It was a dream come true to go. It was just fantastic. And I think I would have had an even greater appreciation for it if I hadn't have been massively ill, which I was. In that last video with Martin, I was in bits. I mean, I was in bits the entire week. I was in bits the entire week, and I was in a lot of pain for a lot of it. And yeah, let's go down there. Let's not do the hill climb. Let's do the other route, because I've never been down here before, and we can. And I have a full tank of fuel. But it was an amazing experience, because it taught me a lot about my own taste in cars. It taught me a lot about what I love about cars. And it allowed me to look at things with a different perspective, you know? And the way that I look at cars has forever been changed. For a couple of reasons as well. One is because I absolutely adore and appreciate the Exotica. It was amazing. But a lot of the stuff I just wanted to drive it. A lot of the cars I wanted to get out there and drive them and just enjoy them. And it really informed my personal taste, because I've realised that I will never own a car that I cannot drive, that I cannot really drive. Whether that's, you know, floating along in a Rolls Royce and driving it the way that's supposed to be driven, or driving a pre-war Grand Prix car, or as Jolene says, about to flat across this bridge and round this corner. Like, I adore driving, and I will never ever own a car that I cannot drive in the way that it was intended to be driven. And there are cars that I love from that event that I don't know whether I could drive in the way that they're meant to be driven, like the Miura. I just don't live on those roads. Some of the Bugattis, you know, the big supercharged Bugattis, adore them. Amazing cars. Could I drive them properly? I don't think I could. Simply because my roads are too narrow. You know, I live in a place with very narrow roads that are often quite slippery, and a very fast supercharged Grand Prix car I would drive on the road. But my roads are very narrow, as is evidenced by this van. And on a tight, slippery road like this, I'd hate to meet a tractor coming the other way in a large supercharged Bugatti. And when I say large, I mean, you know, torquey, super powerful. Like, it would be too much power for my roads. It just would. And I have a deep appreciation for kind of lightweight, nimble, well-sprung cars. And the Bugattis are that, but they are far too serious for my roads. So I don't think I could ever own a car like that, for example. I think my exterior camera has died. I just had to stop and sort the camera out because it fell off again. But this one, not that one. It's GoPro's falling off day. I think it might be the temperature. The temperature's changed, it's warming up. So the air inside the suction cup might heat up. Anyway. No, it was really nice to finally see the cars in the metal. You know, you read about them in books and you see stuff in magazines and you're like, oh, I'd love one of those one day. But it was really nice to kind of meet your heroes, which, you know, they said never meet your heroes, but actually it was very interesting, because some cars which I've always wanted to see, I saw, and I was like, yeah, it's cool, but I don't think I'd have one. Other stuff that I've never seen before, and or I've overlooked in books, like that Delahaye. I never thought I'd look at a Delahaye like that and be like, I want it. I want to take it home and cuddle it, and, you know, it's awesome. I've never looked at one of those Delahaye's and thought, oh, I want one of those, that's awesome. I haven't, but I found myself wanting that particular car because it just had this like perfect mix of character and eccentricity and being very different. And I like cars that offer a very different driving sensation to everything else. You know, I think as classic car enthusiasts and as car people and as automotive enthusiasts, whether it's motorbikes that you're into or whatever, there's something to be said about driving something that gives you a completely separate and individual experience from anything you've ever driven or used before. You know, that's a huge thing to be able to do, to drive something that's a unique driving experience. And a large saloon with a pre-selector like that, that's also sporty, and you know, it's not a Lagonda, it's not some big barge. Would be an amazing experience, and it's just something I'd never considered before. And so, you know, as much as I saw cars I've always wanted, I found myself wanting cars that I've never wanted. And that's kind of a huge thing, you know. It opened me up in a way that I've never thought about before. And I'm completely lost, and I have no idea where I'm going on this road. I'm travelling in roughly the right direction. I've got a rough idea of where I'm going, roughly in the direction of home. But it was a very interesting experience for me. And like I say, I really want to go again in the future. But it also reminded me, being in Paris, of how much I don't want to live in a city. It reminded me of how lucky I am to live here in this beautiful green and traffic-free environment. It was an incredible experience being in Paris. Never been to Paris before. It's very beautiful, it's very interesting, it's very architectural. It was very nice coming home though, for the exact reason that you're seeing through my windscreen right now. It's green, there is no traffic, we have beautiful roads. You know, dream cars are all well and good, but I'll take a 2CV and cruise over a Ferrari in Paris every day of the week and twice on Sundays. And I literally do, because Jolene is mine and I get to drive here every day, and that makes me feel incredibly lucky. You know, every time you travel and you go away from somewhere, your perspectives change, and then you come home and if you're wondering why I'm indicating, the camera fell off again. And if you're wondering why I'm indicating with my hand, the camera fell off again. And my indicator stalker's broken apparently. You know, I always said it always feels like it's about to snap. Well, it snapped. Pop them cables back in there. But anyway, yeah, every time you go away from home, you come back and you are different from how you left somehow. And by the way, switchbacks. How awesome are these? You were different from before you went away. I just need to concentrate just for a second. I can't do switchbacks and talk. Not these switchbacks anyway, because there's about 6 different cambers throughout them. Okay, and we go again. So every time you go away, you're different when you come back. And being in Paris was definitely an experience like that for me, because it made me appreciate just how much I love being here and being at home. And it made me appreciate just how much I love being here in Limousin. I mean, it's stunning. And it's very funny because the video before I left for Paris, it was the 4CV video, and in the 4CV video I drive across a Roman bridge, and I say driving a 4CV in Limousin across a Roman bridge. This is the stuff that dreams are made of. And then I called my first video in Paris Dream Car Overload. But I still maintain that driving an old car, speaking of which, over a Roman bridge is still one of the coolest things one can do. The one mistake I made from Paris, and the one thing that I really need to learn from, is that I actually didn't go to Bonhams at the Grand Palace. I didn't go inside the Grand Palace, and I didn't go and see all those cars, all those stunning vehicles that were for sale at Bonhams. And the reason is, I forgot to ask for a pass. Stupid of me, I know. So that's why there's no video of Bonhams at the Grand Palace. I also lost a bunch of footage. We had a camera problem, much like the camera problems I've had while filming this video. And basically, I lost a bunch of footage. I talked to the lovely people of the Morgan Owners Club of France and stuff like that, and I lost that footage, sadly. There were also some Bertoni concept cars and stuff like that. I lost all that footage. Stuff like that happens, and you've just got to roll with it sometimes. But I had an absolutely amazing time. But the one thing that Martin Otto Lambert Gehäufeschoven taught me, the sculptor that was in last week's video, or the last video that I put up, excellent guy by the way, make sure you check out that video, because Martin is a top bloke and an incredibly talented artist. Martin told me that Bonhams is actually open at the Grand Palace, is open on the Thursday of Retromobile. I think that's right, the Thursday morning of every Thursday morning of Retromobile. And that's very much worth checking out, if it's only to check out the roof. That's my biggest regret of I would have loved to go and see all the amazing cars inside the Grand Palace. I would have loved to go and see the press night, which looked amazing, but unfortunately I didn't have a pass. Completely missed out, completely my fault, complete oversight of organisation. Didn't even think of it. That's something I will have to do for next year. I will make sure that I'm there next year, because completely missed out. My favourite building in the entire world. It's the building that I started the video, this series that has been Retromobile 2020. That's the building that I was in front of. The one touristy thing I did at the show was go and check out that building, and I didn't get a pass to go inside it. So we live and we learn. Retromobile was an absolutely incredible experience, and I feel incredibly lucky to have gone and made videos and shared it with all of you. I'd like to say a huge thank you to Retromobile themselves for inviting me. Like I say, it was an incredible experience, absolutely loved it, and I hope to return next year. I want to say a huge thank you to my friends Angelique and Matisse for letting me stay at their place in Paris. They're my friends, and I said to them, can I come and stay at your house while I do this work thing? And without even a moment's hesitation, they said, yes, Oliver, of course you can. We all need friends like that. I mean, absolutely incredible. This entire trip wouldn't have happened without them. So that's huge. Laurent, Matisse, Angelique, thank you so much for letting me stay with you guys. It was incredible, and I cannot thank you enough from the bottom of my heart. So this entire video series is dedicated to you guys, because you are the best friends that a person could ask for. I'd like to say a big thank you to my friend Tony, because Tony got on a train, crossed France, and instead of just booking into his hotel and calling it a night, actually came to see me and say hello to me, which is huge, even though he was absolutely exhausted and I was exhausted. It was absolutely lovely to meet him, so thank you to Tony. I'd like to say thank you to my partner Miriam, who was my camera woman on this trip. It was an incredibly difficult thing to film in the maelstrom of people and cars and craziness. So thank you to Miriam. Again, I couldn't have done it without you. You know, this trip wouldn't have been doable without all these wonderful people supporting me, and for that I'm massively thankful. And thank you to all of you for watching, because you know, your support of my channel makes it all of this possible. So thank you everybody for watching these videos. Thank you for liking, commenting and subscribing. If you have any questions at all, please just leave them down in the comments below. Please be awesome to each other, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye bye.